I have not finished a book in 46 days. I don't have any excuses. It's kind of on brand though, because usually I have about 2-3 months in the year where I don't finish a book, not necessarily not reading, but just not finishing a book. And usually I think it's earlier in the year that happens to me, but now it is happening right before summer. So I want to remedy that and maybe try to finish a book this month. I don't know if that will be possible. I have some things going on at the end of May, but it is May 13th right now. I think I can get one book done. Currently, I am reading The Just Air, and I know in one of my earlier videos, I kind of softy enough'd it just because I wasn't in the mood to read a fantasy. However, I don't want to read anything, and I keep buying and thrifting books, but I'm not reading anything. So instead of starting something new, that I might just continue reading The Just Air, also because I don't want to forget anything. I am slowly forgetting some like minor characters, but I did start reading maybe like 20-30 pages of this last night. For the most part, I remember what was happening and why it was happening, but that is my cat trying to get inside my studio. And then the other book, The Signature of All Things, this is actually a book I was supposed to finish last month for book club with my friend, and I didn't get far into it at all. So my goal is to finish both of these books this month. I don't think I will be able to do that, but hopefully I can figure out a way to keep reading and like finding time to read. Hold on, let me get my cat. She's scratching her scratch tower. Anyways, hi, you gonna come here? Hello. Hi, big girl. What was I talking about before she interrupted me? My goal is to finish both of these books. I don't know if that will be possible, but that's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to start recording, so I can be motivated to read. I don't know how long this video will be. Honestly, it might just be like 2 days or something. I don't have any other plans for today outside of going to see my niece in maybe like 2 hours. Outside of that, I don't think I have anything going on. So I'm gonna, until I need to leave the house and like prepare dinner, I'm gonna sit in my chair. And I'm gonna read this book. I'm pretty sure I started this book in March. It is May. So I need to get this done. I'm enjoying it. So I have my little ginger tea. I'm going to sit on that chair over there, and I'm going to read this. Let's see if I can successfully read and finish a book, and hopefully in a week's time. I don't think I gave you any kind of summary of what this book is about. But basically, I'm going to try to keep it within the blurb of the summary on the back, maybe even a little bit more vague. But we are following Sylvia. She's the main character, and she's also the heir to the Jasad Kingdom, which is now burned. Her whole family has been annihilated, unfortunately. And of course, she's on the run. She's hiding her identity because her people are still being hunted, especially by the Nizal Kingdom. And so she's like trying to like survive without her identity being revealed. That the magic that her people have is now banned. So she's trying to make sure no one knows that she has magic and keep it under wraps. Now we're kind of following her as she's kind of established herself in this one village, and she's made like acquaintances. She has like a job, and now she has run into the heir of the Nizal Kingdom. That's the group that is trying to annihilate any other Jasadi people that they can find. And then she's also running into a problem where the Jasadi rebels that survived are trying to like get her. I think probably to get her to be like the forefront of their rebellion. And then she's kind of like running into an issue where does she still feel loyalty to the Jasad kingdom, or is she more concerned about, just like living her life, keeping the people around her safe? She's now running into a problem of making sure that this heir doesn't realize that she is the heir, has magic, and is Jasadi. So that's all I think you should know before you go into it. I'm like about 213 pages in, and I think it's like 470-ish pages. So hopefully I can get a good amount of this read if I stick to reading this book for the next few hours and then not get distracted by doing anything else. And then hopefully I'll have time tomorrow to read too. Good morning. It is the next day. I have some updates. I read a lot yesterday, more than usual. I'm on page 297. I think I started reading, I think I was at like 220 yesterday, and the day before I was like at 180. So I have read in the past 2 days about 110 pages, which is a lot for me as of late. I didn't record like the first day because it was like late at night. It was like on a whim. I'm getting pretty invested now for a little bit, and I think that this is why I kind of like soft DNF'd it. I feel like after maybe 60 pages, it felt like we weren't really getting anywhere. Of course, like there needed to be a lot of groundwork for figuring out, how the plot was going to move forward. There was like a certain part, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's like a certain part where she's like in one area for like a really long time after like the first, like, I don't know if it was like 70 pages, 80 pages. And it felt like we were just going to be there for like a really long time. And so at that point, that's when I sort of put the book down. But now as I am about 300 pages in, of course, like we are somewhere else, we are getting more backstory on what we thought we knew. It's keeping me interested enough to want to know how we got to that point. And of course, we only know what the main character knows. We are slowly kind of like unraveling different truths. Not to say like what she knows is like super untrue, but it is really windy here. We're just like learning a little bit more about her kingdom and sort of the reasoning why it was destroyed. And of course, like we're getting a little bit more information about other characters, what their motives may be. So far, I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying it more now. But on a different note, yesterday when I was reading at night, I had chamomile tea. Typically, whenever I have tea, I usually don't like mix it with any kind of sweetener or milk because I don't know. I think I just like grew up. Whenever we had tea, we just like drank it as is. And so I was having chamomile tea because it's helps with like sleep, and it soothes like my digestion, because of course like I've been having like a little bit of digestion issues recently. It's really good like as is, but it kind of like just tastes like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like, I wouldn't say it's floral, but it's like herby. And of course, like drinking it just in boiling water and that's it is not the worst thing. But I was like, okay, I think I'm getting a little bit bored. And I'm like, is this how everyone drinks chamomile tea? Because like it's pretty popular. And I realized you can like mix milk and like vanilla extract and honey. And I did that. And with like a little bit of cinnamon. And it was so good. It's one of those where it's morning right now and I'm thinking about having that tea. So I'm getting like a little giddy thinking about drinking that chamomile tea again. Typically I don't drink a lot of tea, so it's fun knowing like how other people drink, or like how other people drink tea, because usually I just drink like fruit teas and I just add like a little bit of like stevia in it. That's it. But now I'm like getting really excited about this chamomile tea because it was really good. Like I wish I could have a cup right now, but I'm gonna save it for like 1 cup a day. But yeah, I'm gonna keep reading for a little bit, maybe for like 30-40 minutes. I need to go work out, get that knocked out, and then try to read for the rest of the day. It's been a few hours since I last updated you, but now it's nighttime. I have my chamomile tea. It literally looks like milk, but there is vanilla, honey, cinnamon, and chamomile tea in that. I ate a lot today, so I'm pretty bloated and full, so I only made like a little bit, but hopefully that kind of calms my stomach a little bit. I have made a good amount of progress in the Jossid Air. I'm around page 372. I think I started reading this morning around 290, so a little bit under 100 pages, and I have about 100 pages left. And we are getting a little bit more progress in the plot. We are moving forward a little bit in knowing some of the motives between the different kingdoms and unveiling some hard truths, especially like with the main character. So it's been quite a surprise for me, in my opinion, about some of the things that we're learning. And I'm not the type to dwell or try to figure out how something's going to play out or try to guess what is going to happen, the outcome of some situations. Some of it is pretty like easy to figure out, and I think that's the point. It's not supposed to be like super complicated. It was kind of like, okay, it was headed in this direction anyways. For the most part with this book, there have been some like surprising plot twists or surprising reveals, and I think that's been keeping my attention. And typically with this type of storyline and the situation that the main character is in, there tends to be sort of like a repetitive nature of how all of this would play out. I haven't really been like, oh, this is what this is. Like, this is definitely foreshadowing, or et cetera, et cetera. There is, of course, foreshadowing, but it's not super like in your face. And I also realized this is her debut novel, which is like very impressive to me, just because some of the writing and some of the ways that things are being revealed, or even the world building, feels like a little bit more nuanced. And instead of doing the world building in a way that's like very info dumpy, it is like, okay, there are certain aspects that we learn about things, and it's just by the way that people react to things or respond to like information or things like that. So I do enjoy that. There is like a little bit of info dumping in the beginning, which is like very apparent, but then like as we're moving on, there's like less of that specific info dumping, like someone telling me exactly how the politics are going to work or like all of that. There's like a couple of parts where it's like whenever someone's trying to get information from someone, like they're just talking their mouths off. Like they are like telling them everything, but it's like very far and few in between with that. So I am enjoying my time reading The Josted Heir. Hopefully in the next like 100 pages, we'll get a little bit more progress in the plot. I know this is like a duology, so of course with the second book, there's going to be a lot more that goes on in that one. Depending on how I enjoy the ending and like if it's worth it, I'll probably pick up the second book pretty immediately, just because with it being sort of a dense book, I feel like, and like because I've been taking a really long time reading it, I think I might forget a lot if I don't pick it up pretty shortly after finishing this. So I think I might like read a few books in between and then try to read it very shortly after. But I think for the rest of the night, it's a little past 9 right now, and I usually sleep around 9 to 10 o'clock, so I probably will read for the rest of the night, finish my tea, and then tomorrow we'll probably have an update with you tomorrow. It's been a few days. I last updated you on Friday, and today is Sunday. I have good news. I finished The Josted Heir on Friday. My first book I finished since, March? I'm really happy that I finished it. My thoughts on the book, I enjoyed it as we got maybe about halfway through. Thoughts are that it was a pretty well-paced book once you kind of get like a third in, and then it kind of like gets moving. Like you kind of are going, which is really nice. However, some of my issues I have with the book was when we kind of learn more about the other kingdoms, I would get a lot of the other kingdoms mixed up. I feel like we didn't spend a lot of time with like a lot of the other different kingdoms to be able to differentiate each kingdom. So sometimes I would have to like go back and like reread or look back at the map to be like to know which kingdom that they were referring to. My other issue I had was I'm not 100% convinced with the magic system. I'm like not really sure exactly how it works. And I know it doesn't need to have like very specific rules and like, but it just felt like it was very freeform, and I don't know if I was like very convinced with the way that the magic was in this world. So I don't know if that will be more explained in the second book, but overall, I did really enjoy reading it. I'm probably going to pick up the second book. I've seen a lot of people say they like the second book. I did start The Signature of All Things, and the past 2 days, so today's Sunday, Saturday and Sunday, I had some work to do on both days, and then we had errands to run, and then I had like some garden organization that we need to get done, which we still haven't finished yet, but it's kind of like a work in progress. Because I've been busy the past 2 days, I didn't get to read that much. I actually started this a few weeks ago, put it down, so I'm restarting it from the beginning just so I can like refresh my mind of what was going on, because I feel like whenever I'm in a slump and I'm reading it, I'm just reading the words and it's not sticking in my head. So I thought I might just go ahead and restart it. So far, the intro was really strong. I'm about 30 pages in, so I'm not very far. We still haven't met the main character yet, I don't think, because Alma is the main character. We've met her dad, and we're kind of like going through the history of her dad, and he's like, he grew up poor, and so we are exploring how he got to the point that he is, because in the very beginning you kind of get like a feeling like they are pretty like a well-established family. In the back of the book, Alma is like interested in botany, and so we kind of learn that for the most part it seems like it's coming from her dad, because he was learning about trees and plants and stuff like that. However, I feel like we are like really getting his history. Like we are starting when he is young, and like we are getting to like until his like adulthood. And so I feel like I'm getting like a little bit bored, just because for 20 pages, 20, 30 pages, we've just been reading about her dad. So I don't really know when we'll get into her. I bet you once I like move on to the next part, I bet we're going to start reading about her or something. I don't know. But I might start listening to this today on audiobook. And I do need to finish off my rose top. I thought maybe I could listen while I bind off. So yeah, that's my update for the past 2 days. I haven't talked to the camera all day today, and it is 9:00 p.m. Thought I would let you know how I'm going with the signature of all things. I think I'm about like 20% in. I'm like 129 pages in, chapter 10. And I'm gonna be honest, I think I want to DNF it. It is a little terribly boring. We got introduced to a new character in chapter 9, and she is the shining hope right now in me wanting to continue this series or continue the book, because she is creating a lot of character development for almost all of the characters, actually. So that's like really nice. But other than that, like not really a lot of character development, nothing really going on, which I usually don't mind. Like I don't hate books that like don't really have like a main plot or something. I don't mind when a book is just vibes, no like major plot. There doesn't always need to be like this like big active moving parts in a book. It can purely just be like character development and just like vibes, I guess. This book, I don't even know if there's vibes. I was very interested in the very beginning to know more about her backstory. And of course, you needed to know like her parents and like how she grew up. But like the amount of time we have spent with her dad is actually diabolical. Even when we are in her not her current, but like when we are in her life now, and like we start from like when she's young all the way to like right now she's like a teenager. So we're like getting all that. There'll be like moments of like for some reason we're like describing stuff about her father's like situation right now. And I'm like, I thought we were done. I thought we were done talking about this man. Like right now in chapter 10, we are, I already know, I see it. Like we are talking about him again. And like his, I don't know, economic situation. I'm like, I do not care about this man. Like I already know his life story and like the beginning of his story where he got his motivations. We learned like kind of like his greed and like his monopoly on botany. That was really interesting. But then like we kept going. Like we kept learning about this man and I'm like, I really do not care. So I don't know how much more we continue to know about him because of course I'm more interested in Alma and her new friend that we have and an additional member of her family. Like that seems interesting to me. We're getting into their teenage years, which usually always has some type of like angst or like has some type of development, whether it's intellect or just like emotional. And so that seems interesting, especially because this is like in the 1800s. However, we're just talking about her dad. And I'm like, I don't really care. And like, I get that part of Alma's personality, her character, of course, is going to revolve around her family, her mom, her dad. Like, we don't even get that much about her mom. Like, we got like a little bit, be like, ooh, yeah, like she's intellectual. She has like, she's kind of a hater, but we always talking about the dad. Like, Henry, you had your moment. I don't know how much more I can take. So right now, I really don't know if I want to continue. I think I want to, just because me and my other friend, the book that we read, or we tried to read last month, we also DNF'd that one because we were just like not into it. I don't know if there's going to be more to it or if I'm just going to keep learning more about her dad, you know? A part of it is like, okay, am I going to learn more about her dad and all this stuff, like continue to know, and that will then further my understanding of how this story goes, or I'm just going to know all these things about her dad and then, you know, it doesn't really provide any context for how this story is supposed to develop. So, and like, I'm pretty sure this book is like supposed to really be about Alma. I'm reading the back of the book. I'm like, there's no mention of her dad. Her dad needs to be part of this little blurb back here because I know more about him than I know about Alma at this point. I think tomorrow I'll make a decision if I'm going to continue or if I'm going to DNF. I'm listening to right now, and it's much more digestible listening to it. The language of the book and all of that is very easy to understand. So I'm like not getting lost in that. If anything, I'm just a well of knowledge about Henry Whitaker. But I have another update very fast. I did finish my rose top. Let me put this on real quick so I can show you. I haven't blocked or anything. I literally sewed on buttons that I found in my drawers. I'm not convinced with the buttons. I'm going to Norway soon, so maybe I'll try to find some buttons at like thrift shops there, but I'm not gonna stress myself out. So like these buttons I can just like rip off. She is done. Finally. So those are the buttons I chose. Again, I'm not very convinced. So the rose top, you put the buttons. I should have done this earlier. I also was just dreading doing the finishing. I haven't tried it on yet, but it needs to be blocked. It needs to dry, and then hopefully, I don't think it'll grow or it will expand that much just because it's, I think this, what is this, like a cotton linen blend or something like that? So it doesn't really grow, but she's done. I need to put something else on my needles. I don't know if I'll be crazy. So when we go to Norway, we're going soon, and it's still pretty like mild spring weather there. So will it be crazy if I try to knit a long sleeve blouse for me to wear? I don't know. Maybe that'll be my new challenge. That's my update. I really want to finish this by tomorrow, but it's like 500 pages. And I'm worried about how many more hundreds of pages I'm going to learn about Henry. have made the executive decision to DNF, the signature of all things. I read till page 277. I had enough. The issues I had with this book was the pacing is really weird. We had a really long time skip. It felt like we were dwelling on things that didn't really matter and not spending time with like a little bit more, I don't know, like maybe more interesting things. So like she has like a strained relationship with her parents, her family members. Clearly she has like dad issues, like father issues. And that then resulted in her having, you know, like issues with like being social, searching for love. And then also like when she was like a teenager, we get like a little bit of like sexual frustration, which is like fine. Like when you're a teenager, and especially if when you're not exposed to those things, it's like normal. But it continues, a lot of it, and very unexpectedly. I wanted to know more about, you know, her being like a woman in science in this time. She ends up studying like moss, and like one of the main reasons why is like there wasn't a lot of pushback for her being in that field because no one was really interested studying moss. So I thought that was really interesting. We never really, I mean, so far after the time skip, we didn't really go more into her being in that field. I think the main part of this story is like she is traveling. Like the main story is like from her traveling to Tahiti. We haven't even gotten to that part. I'm almost like 300 pages in, more than halfway over. And I know it's like right there, but I can't. And then like also like the writing is very drawn out. So like whenever the author is writing anything, like when she's like making comparisons, it's not just like, okay, like for example, like if this person is a heavy sleeper. So then she's like comparing this person being a heavy sleeper to like child being under a tree, you know, after like a long day of play. And then like it keeps going, like she keeps making comparisons to this person being, like it goes on for at least like 5 or 6 more sentences of this person being tired and then like comparing that to something like this, you know, and I'm like, it didn't seem necessary. And like at the end of the day, that didn't really matter, right? Like why did I need a whole paragraph about how this guy was sleeping? So I'm gonna DNF it, text my friend. I couldn't do it, I tried. And I don't think I'm gonna be missing out on the last, like what, 200 pages of this. So I'm just gonna call it quits on this book. I don't think I'm gonna reach back for this. It had a lot of promise in the beginning. And then, you know, I told you about the dad. We learned a lot about the dad. And then it was just a lot of nothing. And then also like it felt very detached from a lot of the characters. And like a lot of the characters I did like, author was kind of like wrote them out of the story or just like did something with them. And it was like, I don't know, like it felt like such a waste for some of these like very colorful characters to be in here, and then all of a sudden like we don't hear about them ever, which is strange. I feel like this might put me in another reading slump, so I'm just gonna go ahead and end it and choose another book to read. But I think that's the end of my reading vlog. So I did finish one book, The Jossid Heir. Did read like 277 pages of this, stop myself so I don't get into another reading slump. Hopefully I can pick up another book soon. It's been about a week since I started recording. So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna read next, but thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.